don't know if Kat's gonna show up, but one thing I just wanted to say about Kat's dream, you know, about the stromatolites and those things like that, is I had this vision about the you know, when you go down to rock bottom, to the absolute base of everything, and that under this rock, you know, there was this one in Jung's death dream. He saw this stone with a door in it. It was a cube, and he was going to go in it, and he knew when he went in it, the answers to all the questions would be revealed. You know, I had that same feeling. I mean, literally, it wasn't a thought that this place where all creation started, where all the images come from, where our bodies were shaped from, the wisdom that shaped our bodies, in this physis, the most basic physis or matter, underneath it. And I have felt this great joy that this rock has the answers to all questions in it, you know, and I just felt the energy from that, you know. And so then she has the dream about the stromatolites and the dream about the petroglyphs, and she has all these elemental dreams, you know. The one there was a couple other ones, I can't remember them, but anyway, that was not a thought, it was a revelation that I had, you know. I mean, it wasn't me or anything, it was just a revealed truth that at the rock where the temple of wisdom is built, pouring out of it are the answers to all questions.
You could recognize that. That's really awesome. You could recognize that the stone had that.
Yeah, and really, if you can live, and now I have never experienced that before. Have you guys ever that you were close to something that was just percolating and it loved you and it had the answers to all the questions? And it's not a god, it's a rock. It's rock.
When that happens to me, I used to have a giant or something come and scare the hell out of me.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, it was just, and then and even in, yes, scares the hell out of you. Well, you know, something larger than you know, I mean, something that is, see, now the whole thing is, the way, this is the secret in dreams. Now you tell me, Roy, if this, because you know more about dreams than almost anyone. The secret in dreams is if something you fear or is threatening you, you turn and you face it. And if it kills you, you need to be killed. You know, there's something.
Yeah, but here, Craig, you don't remember that you're dreaming when it happens.
No.
So you can't do that. You're like not aware enough to do that. You know that, but when you're in a dream, you're not that aware. If you were, you would be at least aware you were dreaming. So it's quite a trick. I mean, you know, if you could just become lucid, you could remember that and do it, and everything would change.
Yeah, you'd have to have the realization in the dreams that the only way I can face, I mean, this was something Robert Johnson did when he was being chased by the big snake that looked like it was going to devour him. He just puts his arms up like this, you know, and makes a circle, you know, and then the snake puts its head through, and then they became friends, you know. But anyway, let's start on Dawn's dream, because I think it's going to be super fun to do this one. Let's see if I can put it in the chat. If I could find I was going to try to sign on with my other account. I often, my thing does not work on this one, but just give me a second. Here we go. Let's see here. I can get it. Oh, yeah. Anyway, that was what I was going to tell Dawn if she was here. Okay. Well, this was on November 4th, 2021. So it was just recently. Okay. Do you either, Gary, do you want to read it? Let me put it in the chat. Okay. See if it all goes in. Oops. Here we go. As she goes to prepare for the, and then I gotta find that. Let's see, as she goes to prepare for the lesson. Let's see.
Oh, this one isn't named. I thought she had a name in it.
No, I would call it the
The
box.
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 Yeah.
I would call it the box. Yeah. Okay. All right. There you go. It's 2 parts.
All right. I'm in a place and it reminds me of a camp. I don't remember much about it except that it was in the woods and other people were around. People I don't really know. I have this large wooden box that is large enough for me to fit inside. I look inside and I see where it had been damaged. One of the boards in the bottom is missing and it has been repaired with a weaker material. It might be cardboard and packaging tape. I see nothing in the box at all. The bottom isn't flat, but slanted. I am dissatisfied with the condition of the box, but someone tells me that I've won a competition with it. Then I find myself in a classroom with a preschool teacher that works at the school where I am employed. This doesn't look like her classroom, though. In real life, she is someone I admire. She is going to use what is in my box to teach her class. This was my reward for winning the competition. There were 3 ideas for the lesson plans in my box. However, I'm not aware of what is in this box at all. As she goes to prepare for the lesson, I am surprised and ask how she just happens to have all the necessary materials to do the lessons already in her classroom. Then I feel uncomfortable because I worry she could perceive my asking this question as me thinking that what I created is worth more than she thinks it to be. So I remind myself to be careful of what I say. I only remember seeing her teach one of the lessons. For it, she brought out a colorful toy caterpillar. She attached round cutouts to a small stick, one to each segment. At first, I think each one is a planet, but then I notice each cutout has a different emotion on it. I remember feeling, what a perfect way to demonstrate this, yet my woke mind has no idea about what is being demonstrated or taught about any of the contents in that box, let alone what any of it means.
Absolutely a beautifully composed dream. I wanted to read something to you from, this is from Serlo in his symbol dictionary about the box. The box, like all receptacles, has the basic use of keeping or containing. The box is a feminine symbol, and it's a quaternity too. It's a, you know, it's a it's 4-sided on each side. Okay, it has 4 sides and a top and a bottom. Okay, the box is a feminine symbol, which can refer both to the unconscious and to the maternal body itself. We do not here refer to spherical objects, which are symbols of oneness and of the spiritual principle. That's a more masculine symbol. The myth of Pandora's box appears to allude to the significance of the unconscious that is contained in a box, particularly in the special sense of its unexpected excessive, and destructive potentialities. They relate this symbol to what's called imaginative exaltation, which, basically is it's just full of unknown images that are exciting or whatever. In addition, we would like to point out the analogy, the family resemblance between Pandora's box and the third casket, which appears in so many legends. The first and second contain goods and riches. The third discharges storms, devastation, and death. This is clearly an example of a symbol of human life, or the cycle of the year, which is divided into 3 stages, consisting of 2 favorable thirds and 1 adverse. A superb elaboration upon the Pandora theme is to be found in, he just names a book. Particularly interesting is the author's study of the literary heritage of the myth of the box and ways in which it may be adapted to serve the visual arts. So anyway.
Right. At the very start of it, you said the box could be either a continuation or what was the other one?
Okay. The box is a feminine symbol, which can refer both to the unconscious and the maternal body itself.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought there was something else in there too.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so let's just start out. We are in a place, it reminds me of a camp. It was in the woods and other people are around. So this is some place in a natural setting. Let me just, Kat is here, she can help us. Let's see, select all and copy. There we go. Let me see if I can put this in here real quick. All right, let me see. Hey, Kat, we're just starting a dream here.
How's everybody?
I think everybody's just unbelievably good. But don't tell anybody.
That's good.
Yeah. Let me see if I can. I am not aware of what's in the box at all. And let's see. Let's see. I'm not sure what the end of it is, but we'll get to it anyway. I'm going to go through the dream, Kat. Gary just read it for us, and then we talked about what the box is. It's a symbol of the unconscious. This is from a Thurlow, who is a Jungian, really, and to the maternal body itself. It's not a spherical, which is a symbol of oneness. 4 is a symbol of the feminine. 3 is the symbol of. See, the thing is, the masculine idea is to be perfect, perfection. The feminine idea is no, be complete. And 4 is the number of completion, where 3 is the number of perfection. So the male aspect strives for perfection. Everything is absolutely perfect, and where the female is not worried about perfection. She's worried about wholeness or completion, So anyway, we start out, we're in a place that reminds me of a camp. It was in the woods and other people were around. So it's somewhere in a natural setting, the place where nature is predominant and not the world of the self-willed ego. Not here. This is a place where nature holds sway. And I have this large wooden box that is large enough for me to fit inside. Now, the whole dream is going to be about a box. When I first read that, it was just already sort of, I felt the genuineness of this dream. A life, now the large wooden box It's a life-sized quaternity, four-sided, four sides with four sides, all of four, and then a top and a bottom. And it is just the size to contain us, you know, just the size to contain us. And then I look inside and see where it has been damaged. One of the boards on the bottom is missing and has been repaired with weaker material, possibly cardboard and packing tape. Now, there is a flaw in it, and it's at the bottom. You know, the one that faces the depths is permeable. It is not solid. It is permeable. And it has a covering over it, but it's not, it's open to the depths. The bottom is, you know, and there's only a temporary covering on it. And so the bottom is open to below. Now we see nothing in the box. The bottom isn't flat, but slanted. I'm dissatisfied with the condition of the box, but someone tells me I'd won a competition with it. So now the bottom has an upward slope, you know, so the bottom is, you know, what Jung said about the contents of the depths, and also about the dream maker, and also about our dreams and our visions and all the images we see. They long for the light. They long for the light. The light of what? Of ego attention. So they are slanted upward. So the idea is this bottom of this mysterious box has a, you know, has an aspect of ascent in it. It wants to flow upward, you know. And now we're dissatisfied with the condition of the box. But someone tells me that we won an honor. So even though ego doesn't like the box, it doesn't seem to know where it came from or that we're responsible for it. You know, and unbeknownst to us, we've earned honors for it because of its existence. You know, it is existing because we exist, and it is an honored box, and we have achieved honors because we are the owners of this box. You know, this mysterious box, which we're going to find a lot about, more about. We then so that's sort of the discovery of the box. Okay, then we find ourselves in a classroom with a preschool teacher that works at the school where I'm employed. So it's at the place of learning for the newly emerged contents in us, the just born or the just come into being. Someone is going to take the just come into being and you know, like Parsifal was under the you know, tutelage of that guy that taught him knightly arts. The growing, he's certainly capable, but he needs to be learned from the wise. Okay, so this doesn't look like her classroom though, but she is someone we admire. So she's a wise woman, one who is someone that we look up to, and she has come. Well, let's hear what she does. She is going to use what is in my box to teach these preschoolers, you know, these newly emerged beings. And this was the reward of the dream ego for being connected with the box, the one that deserves honors. So the wise woman in me is going to nurture and teach the growing thing. She is available to us because we either created or, I think more likely, coexist with the box. Although, there is a creative aspect to it, probably. Now, there were 3 ideas for the lessons. And, we just heard that the box, there's usually 3 boxes, and 2 are favorable. And the 3rd is adverse. So, Serlo says that's because of the way life is. It's kind of 2 steps forward and 1 back. I don't know, but it's the idea is, so there were 3 ideas for lessons plans in my box, and I'm not aware of what's in them. So, there's, so the box anticipated that the teacher was going to use the lessons that are found in the box. I mean, is that the purpose of the box? One of the purposes of the box apparently is that it is going to be used for the wise old woman to help raise the growing thing within us. The ego is sort of static and can't go anywhere. It's not going to go up or down. But the growing thing in the ego is certainly not static. It's the becoming thing. That life is a becoming thing. And if there's, like we were talking about last time, that the one thing the gods lack is the promise of youth. And that's why they steal babies. That's why they need human beings, generations after generations after generations of human beings, because each one brings something new into the world that has never been seen before on land or sea. And if we wonder what that thing is, look at the ages of astrology. You go from Taurus, this very basic bull-like creature, to Aries, which is sort of a sacrifice. It's a little more human, but it's the sacrifice of the animal aspect in us. Then you move into Pisces, which is the aspect of the unconscious contents that we bring up to the surface. There are beings and consciousness in the ocean, and you bring them to the surface. I will make you fishers of men, that's what Jesus says. And so then we move into the age of Aquarius, where the water bearer carries the unconscious with him, and then he actually waters these images who don't have consciousness. He is bringing meaning to the images. Now, what's next after that? It is the age of the goatfish. That's Capricorn, okay? Now what's interesting about the goatfish? The goatfish is at home on the mountaintops and at home in the deepest sea. It has both those sides. What's that going to be like? It's just and now at those points there will be a flavor that's similar to the goatfish. Right now we don't even know what the water bear age is going to be like yet.
Each of these ages is what, 2,000 years or something?
Yeah, 2,600 or I don't know. Do you know, Roy? I don't know. Is it 2,500? Oh, you're muted. You're muted. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the whole procession, 26,000 years. So, I think 24 and yeah, I think 2,000 years. Two into 24 would be 12. So right. It's 12 signs. Yeah, so 2,000 years for a sign. Mm-hmm. It goes backwards.
Yeah, and then they're broken up into quarters. Each quarter has a different character. Like 0 to 500 had a character, 500 to 1,000 had a character, 1,000 to 1,500, and then 1,500 to 2,000. You know. Okay. Well, anyway, the only reason I brought that up is because the box contained something, a message, or something that had to do with the growing thing within us. And as she goes to prepare the lesson, we're surprised and ask how she just happens to have all the necessary materials already to do. How did she know what was in the box? She's omniscient. She's prescient. She's not human. You know, there's an aspect of her that's a magical being. Then I feel uncomfortable because I worry she could perceive my asking this question is me thinking that what I created is worth more than she thinks it to be. I have to be careful of what I say. I don't think that's the problem. Just saying. I think that she is got plenty of respect for this. Okay, now I only remember seeing her teach one of the lessons, but some lesson, okay? She brings out a colorful toy caterpillar. I mean, the very image of transformation, you know, of this being that goes into a cocoon, liquefies, and comes out a butterfly. I mean, that is there any more stark symbol of transformation than the caterpillar? I mean, it totally liquefies. His whole body just becomes goo, you know, and then the goo reforms into a butterfly, which is, how did that happen, you know? So anyway, I mean, it's just an amazing thing where the cocoon, the caterpillar's in the cocoon, it just liquefies into some kind of like what you'd find in an egg, you know, but then it sort of, you know, it just reforms almost like a 3D printer into this amazing winged creature with colors and designs on the wings, you know, and you know, and what's funny is most caterpillars have a great big eye on the back of their wings, so that anyone who sees them from the back will think that there's a creature looking at them, and it will be frightened by the two big eyes on the back of their wings. So it's sort of their rear guard. But anyway, now what is she doing with it? She attaches a mandala to each one. Okay, a round cutout. She attaches a mandala. Now, first we think they are, each one is a planet. I think they are. They very well could be planets, but we notice each cutout has a different quality. Now, she says a different emotion, but you know, it's you know, when I was talking to Amy about this dream, look at the Greek gods. You know, each one represents a different archetypal energy in the psyche. You know, Artemis, Aphrodite, Mars, Hermes, Zeus, you know, Poseidon, you know, Hades. I mean, these are all aspects of our psyche. And somehow the Greeks personified each one in this daemon, you know. So anyway, they each have an emotion. And you know, now let me just say this is that there were 7 planets, okay, used to be, when they included the sun and the moon. Is that right, Roy? I think there was.
Yeah, originally it's 7.
Yeah, and as you descend in birth, each archon assigns a quality to you, like an emotion, assigns a quality to you. Then you move to the next one, you're assigned another quality, and you go all down through 7. So at the end, each archon puts 7 qualities into you, and that's your astrological sign. Okay. And, like Jung said, and he knew these people who were, every bit as good an astrologer as, they could just listen to you talk and not ask you any questions and tell you what month and day of the year you were born. They were that good. This is classical scholarship, though no one does this anymore. You're very lucky to find somebody like Edmund Gibbons or Oswald Spengler or these great historians, that wrote these fabulous works of history. We just don't have them anymore, But anyway, now here's the thing, though, that when Hermes goes up to the seventh heaven, goes through all 7 planets, when he comes down, he de-beards each archon. And then when he gets down back to earth, because he knew that his strength was not perfected in the 7th heaven. The only way it could be perfected is to be a man on earth. That's how his strength was perfected. But now he's a free man because he has freed himself from his astrological destiny, by de-bearding all those on the way down. So anyway, they seem to have that aspect, this different qualities or emotions. So they're somewhat, that's all I could think of. Now, we remember feeling what a perfect way to demonstrate this. What's this? I would say for the growing thing, the perfect way to demonstrate this is a caterpillar with mandalas attached, and each mandala representing a different quality of our awareness. And it's this being of transformation, the being of transformation who possesses all these qualities. When they become a butterfly, this youthful being in us will be have finished its lesson. Okay. Isn't that a wonderful lesson? Now the woke mind has no idea about this, and let alone of what it means. But I think we have a feeling for it. I don't think we know either much than her, but these are just very. What do you think, Roy?
About the dream?
Yeah.
Well, I think the box is dawn, and because we're contained in a vessel, and like squaring the circle, if the unconscious is inside this, it's going to get out to, corrosion. Somebody's going to open a box. Hermes always gets out, and she doesn't. I think she doesn't see the metaphor, and so she's going to this classroom, starting preschool, this master teacher. And I love the image of the caterpillar transforming agent. It's like things are joined together with these mandalas, if you might want to say, how these complexities are joined together. So it's kind of like articulation, but I don't think Don understands about nature's articulation. It's very different from man's articulation. In nature's articulation, everything's like interrelated, and you can see it or you can't. I don't even know how you would teach that, but I think this master is teaching that, showing it to Dawn, and intuitively she understands that it's perfect, but it's kind of hard. It's ineffable. It's hard to grasp and articulate in our language, but somehow she's able to intuit it.
Well, that is very good. We could really go into this. Every one of the things you brought up. What do you think, Gary?
Yeah, so the box, the box and winning the prize for it. The prize is because, they're becoming aware of the shadow, and the shadow is represented by the faults in the box. So, these things would be like, you're becoming aware, and so like, you're becoming aware of the parts of you that were your shadow side. And that's why, you're getting a prize for this. And that's also why, the bottom isn't perfect, but slanted. So slanted could be like, seeing things not quite straight. And then the classroom with the preschool teacher. To me, this says that, some things we do with our intellect, and you can kind of work through an understanding, and other things are, they don't work that way. And I actually thought what Roy said about about nature and interrelatedness was a good description. I'm going to describe it a little bit different. The reason is that, that she can't recognize the lessons in the box that the teacher is planning on using, is that these are things that can't be put into words. And that as soon as you try to put them into words, then you lose the feeling, then you lose the connection, then you lose that particular consciousness. So those two things actually don't go together. And so some of this, comes by grace. And that's, again, goes back to the teacher who's going to guide. And then the connection with the caterpillar is through these emotions. It's working with the inferior function, and how do we eventually overcome and really deal with some of the shadow sides of these things. You have to go to your inferior function. You have to understand things in a different way. And so the whole dream is really just it's a really beautiful illustration of this. That's what I'm getting.
One thing I would say, and I thought about it and I forgot to say, is that the bottom that is imperfect, and you alluded to this, Gary, is I think represents the inferior function, that aspect of us that is we are most unconscious of. The fact that it is imperfect, flawed, whatever. I mean, our inferior function always comes up in a very primitive state. Anybody who knows what their primitive function or their inferior function is, whenever it comes up, it's a beast. I mean, it's mind sensate. I mean, when I have a where I have to fix something I can't fix, I just get horribly I mean, I just start to get angry, and it's really involuntary. It isn't that I'm angry, I'm more upset. I think that's a better word. I just wanted to show you the caterpillar here. There's the caterpillar, and the have the it's segmented, and each one you can think of a little round mandala on it. Okay, well, let's keep moving on this. What do you think, Kat? Have you had time to assimilate?
I think it's very interesting. I think like the box being a container, but then I can mostly it's like what Roy was saying about the vessel and being sort of battered and bruised by life. I think of it's almost like deliveries being sort of crushed and that in sort of transit type of thing. And I'm being dissatisfied. There's something about sort of make do amend quality to that in the fact that the bottom of the box has been repaired with a weaker material, maybe cardboard. And I think sometimes in life, sometimes we are knocked for six, and like putting a band-aid on a very gaping wound, it just sort of patches it, but there's nothing really foundational or restorative. Sometimes we just grab what we can in order just to patch it up, rather than actual repair. But someone tells me that I have won a competition with it. So it's kind of like an acknowledgement because of perhaps those experiences. But the school teacher is, and I'd agree when you say about the wise woman, but she's also a mentor, but also she's somebody I admire. So I wonder if it's like a golden shadow aspect to it that can actually see things in the and see the value of this box that I don't actually see, but it's being used as a teaching tool, as a teaching material to others. And there's something, yeah. And so out of that, then there's the cocoon, which becomes a butterfly, which in some ways, perhaps in life or this box, I have felt out of step. But when I think of a butterfly, I think of something quite bold, even though that thing is quite fragile. I look at butterflies and notice how they just bob around in their own little world, regardless of whatever threats or whatever adverse conditions are out there. And then just watching them move and go around in their own little dance is somehow truly beautiful and really effective when you look at the whole of the activity of what's going on. The butterfly just is in its own, dances to its own sort of drumbeat, and that's what makes it even more beautiful. But it can be part of everything but still be out in its own. That's it. Sorry for rambling.
Well, yeah, I think, the bottom of the box was papered over, and if it is a wound, usually our inferior function is our wounded function, and we just paper it over. We can't really, like you say, do anything restorative to it, because really it is unconscious, but it is that way. This wound in us is since we are so unaware of it, the glaring light of ego doesn't reach there. So you almost need a function that is very primitive and very far away from the self-willed ego, because this is the open door for nature and for the depths and for the wisdom of the body to come into this self-willed awareness. Now, the fact that she is a teacher is, I think, the idea of that she is one who teaches. So she would tend to be the wise old woman. I mean, now you know there is such a thing as a positive shadow. You mentioned the golden shadow, but you know the positive shadow. Let's say you are a thief and a murderer and a liar and a cheat. Your shadow is going to be a saint. Okay? It's going to be this positive aspect. But I think in Dawn's case, now Dawn, this is an interesting dream too, because I don't remember, first of all, there doesn't seem to be a masculine aspect in it. It's you and this wise old woman and then growing thing, you know, and up until recently, most every one of your dreams, I would just, as I was scrolling through, I was getting, you know, cat man, what was the name of that dream? The cat man nose or something like that. But there always seems to be a odd masculine character in your dreams. But here we're having a little bit different character. Dawn, did you want to say anything about it? Just what's your thinking on it? Or did you want to comment? You don't have to. But anyway, let's try to sum up the moral of the story. How about that? Okay, what is the moral of the story? Okay, the moral of the story is, I'm just gonna try to blurt out something. I would say the moral of the story is that first of all, this is a great dream. I mean, a big dream is what I mean. It is a big dream, you know, and I think what it is saying is that that there is a healing process in us. It has to do with the great mother and the young thing within us, and what is going to be the restorative aspect is the very honored box, the very honored vessel, which now the vessel is the vessel. We are the projections of the soul. So the soul is somewhat, you know, there's an aspect, the body is our vessel. You know, it really is our vessel because it, our ego is so weak. It just is pitiful, you know, really think about it compared to the powers that shaped our body, the wisdom that shaped our body, you know, is the same wisdom that shapes our dreams, by the way, you know, the same wisdom that made us see all these colors and all these beautiful, and that made all the flowers and the beautiful colored birds is the one that produces our dreams too. You know, I mean, it's just beautiful. But the aspect that the great mother in us, because sometimes we have a somewhat difficult relationship with the masculine, but in this case, the great mother or the wise old woman is going to using our vessel, the one that it belongs to us. And I think it's one that coexists with us, although there is a creative aspect to it, is going to be where she draws the lessons. She draws the lessons for the growing thing within us from our box, our container. And this, with these, she's going to teach that the newly emerged thing in us, you know, to educate it, to draw educera, you know, draw forth the knowledge it needs to grow and become great, and to become, you know, like Parsifal, you know, this fully fledged knight, you know, and
I'm going to throw in one
Yes,
thing
go
here,
ahead.
Craig, and it's to be done through feeling, not the intellect.
Yes, the colorful caterpillar. That's what I was saying. The fact that the caterpillar is all covered with colors means that it is all about the feeling function. It is all about the feel. So the transformative aspect in us is the feeling aspect. Okay, the feeling function, and that's probably the wounded aspect of us too. Is the feeling function. The feeling function is wounded in us, and through the wholeness of each mandala, which is going to be put on each part of us, we've got all these daemons within us. I mean, we are polytheistic inside of ourselves. We've got many gods within us, and through each one, getting her little round wholeness healing. Wholeness and healing are the same word. That and they're somewhat related to the planets. The constellation. Remember, Dawn one time had this beautiful dream where she is in a roller coaster. It goes through a black curtain. She falls out of the roller coaster and she starts falling towards Earth. But as she falls towards Earth, she looks up at the sky and sees the stars. And if she orients herself with the stars, she can fall without being, just tumbling. So anyway, this the lessons for the growing thing within us that the Great Mother is going to teach us, our growing thing, comes from our own soul, I guess, or whatever. What would you say, Roy? Do you have any? How would you sum it up?
Well, I'm kind of focusing on how nature has everything interrelated. Like the caliper, that 2 legs, 4 legs, 6, how many damn legs is there? And they're all coordinated and the segments move all together. I mean, that is so sophisticated. It's all how things are interrelated. And that's very different than what we're taught, reason and logic, and how we look at ourselves. We never think about that we don't have all our imperfections are really could be our strengths. It's all interrelated, and how to integrate that. And the caterpillar is a good metaphor, I think, for that.
And Gary mentioned that the many segmented being. Hi, Charles. We're just kind of finishing up on Dawn's stream. Is the many segmented being? Aren't we many segmented being? A many segmented being. It almost looks like it's a bunch of people who are holding onto a rope. A bunch of kids who hold onto a rope as they go wherever they're going. All these little kids, and they're all joined by the rope, and that they're just one entity, but each one has its own little energy. Gary, do you have any moral to the story?
Well, just what you just said just brought up an image, and that was, like in the Chinese, the New Year celebration, you'll have like 10 or 20 people that are carrying along the dragon and, and making it do its moves. And it's like, they're like all the daemons that are, that make up the part of this, that is this act of imagination that they're doing the ritual for.
And that's hinted to by the 7 planets. The fact that she mentioned the 7 planets, and each one had a different quality, a different feeling function. I think, as you said, it does represent the feeling function. Kat, did you have a kind of a sum up on it, or?
I liked what Gary said about the Chinese dragon and each person having a part to play in its coordination and its dance and its movements. But I just picked up on the 7 planets part in the fact of when I think of the 7 planets, you know, Saturn traditionally was the planet that you couldn't get past the ring of, you know, the ring of past not or whatever, but something suggests to me in the fact of the transformation into the butterfly that there has been a passing through that to a greater extent in a new way of being and awareness. So seems to me that the previous limitations or restrictions have been passed through, perhaps. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, that's very good. Charles, did you read Dawn Stream or not? Or you had a chance to read it?
No, I haven't had
No,
a
that's
chance to read
okay.
it.
That's fine. Well, let me just show real quick. I think this planet aspect is really important. Let me just short. And then Gary, you had a dream, didn't you? A short one, you said.
Yeah, yeah, it might just be
Yeah.
a segment, you know.
That's
We could do,
fine.
if anyone
let's
else has got one, we could do
No,
that too.
let's go through yours. But you know, here's the 7 planets. You know, the sun, which is gold, moon, silver, Mars, iron, Mercury, quicksilver, Jupiter, tin, Venus, copper, and Saturn, lead. Now, I think, Roy, you're an expert on Saturn, aren't you? You seem
Oh
to,
yeah. Oh yeah.
you seem to know a lot about
That,
Saturn.
the original sun.
Yeah. Yeah. What can you say? Tell us about Saturn.
Well, Saturn's mainly associated with karma.
Mhm.
So the reason you can't get past Saturn is you have to deal with your karma, and you have your Saturn returns every 30 years, and they really shake your life up. I mean, if you don't make the right decisions, then you have to wait to another 30 years to have all those opportunities open again.
It's known as the heavy one, you know. And
Yeah, lead.
It's lead, but they call it the heavy one.
It's good,
You know, the
prima
one that-
materna material.
Yes, very weighty, you know, aspect. Well, Dawn, did you have any? Oh, Gary, good. You put your dream in there. Okay, Dawn, did you have any final comments on it? You don't have to comment on it, but I just wanted to say thank you for sharing that. It's a beautiful dream, you know. We can go on to Gary's dream. Gary, do you want to read your dream?
Yeah, I called this one handcuffed. Let's go back up. I am speeding in a car when I am stopped by the police and I'm handcuffed. There is a disturbance. The officer must take care of it, and he instructs me to wait. Instead, I escape. Now I am in an office building and I have my hands in my jacket pockets to try to hide that I'm wearing handcuffs. A man comes along and releases me from the handcuffs. I'm still worried that I am wanted by the police. At one point, I am high up on a beam looking down at a seminar with a number of people.
Could you remind us of the dream you had right before this one? It was about the, was it where you were going to be executed, or how did that?
That's that one I called the kid.
Mm-hmm.
And my single son suddenly has an 8-year-old boy I'm helping to take care of. I've just moved into a separate apartment in the apartment complex he lives in. It's the first time I've taken care of him. He's at my apartment and he says something to the effect of, well, I'm not sticking around, and he walks out. Seems almost as soon as he goes out the patio doors, he is gone. I decide to go look for him. The grounds have these surprisingly large terraces, some of which have their own buildings on them. On one of the terraces, there is a dance school with a group of very young girls taking dance lessons. I think he might like that, and then I will check with him about enrolling when I find him. So that was the previous one.
Yeah, well, didn't he already know about it though, or something? About the dance school, or maybe not. I don't know. That was the whole dream there. You told the whole dream. And yet weren't you a woman in that dream, or what was the, maybe I'm mixing up things.
Oh, no, you're
He
right.
was.
There's more,
He was.
there's more to it.
Yeah.
I'm now in a large underground parking lot trying to find my way out. I located the kid and he was with me for a while. And he also said that he wanted to do the dance class. I come across someone who works in the parking garage and I asked for directions on how to get out. Instead, he starts explaining about something else. It does not matter as I see some light from outside and am able to crawl through an opening. I have no idea of where my apartment is or how to find it. At one point, I see a back door that might be to my apartment, and I open the door and call out. A woman appears and offers some explanations on how to, how to locate my place. I eventually find my place, but it is different. It seems that there is an area that is unexplored, a very large, eloquent kitchen. So that was the one before.
I mean, it was just a, and I think the one before that had a similar character. I'm just saying.
Yeah, the one before was the earthquake.
Yes, the earthquake. Now that was where you were trying to save the girl who jumped off the cliff.
Right,
And
right.
yeah, but you anyway, that was a, each one of those are powerful. They're just very powerful. So now you're handcuffed. We're speeding in a car when we're stopped by the police and handcuffed. There's a disturbance. The officer must take care of it, and he instructs me to wait. Instead, I escape. Who wouldn't? You know, I mean, I remember when I was a little kid in a small town. You know, on Halloween, all the kids used to go out, you know, and create mischief. And there was about 4 or 5 of us, and we were, you know, this town had 1,200 people in it, and we were trying to take a stop sign out. You know, it was just in dirt. We just had dirt roads there, and right as we're taking it out, suddenly this guy named Bud Enabnett, who was the only town maintenance guy, comes up in his pickup truck. It's dark out, and gets out of his truck. Hey. And everybody starts running. And then he yells, "Stop." No one stopped but me. I was the only one that stopped. So there are people who probably. So instead I escape. Now I am in an office building. Now you're in an office building. Okay. So you escape to an office building. So you're now you're a fugitive.
Right.
Yeah. You have your hands in your jacket pockets trying to hide that, oh, you're still wearing the handcuffs. A man comes along and releases me from the handcuffs. But I'm still worried that I'm wanted by the police. At one point, this has come up in 2 different dreams. At one point, I am high up on a beam looking down at a seminar with a number of people. Okay, now let's I'm going to try to just quickly go through it. Is we are not following the inner law, let's say. We're not following the inner law, and some aspect of us tells us that we're not following the inner law, and I might be grasping for straws here, and they restrain us. But then they seem to say, "We just want you to know that you need to be hobbled. You can't, you're too self-willed. You need to follow the inner law. And he just instructs you to wait. I think he wants to trust you or something. He does trust you, but instead you escape. Now now you have the problem that you're hobbled. You go to an office building, so you don't really go into nature. Remember, when you could have went to the left-hand side to the park, you instead go to the right-hand side. And didn't somebody then threaten you with a knife or something? Or
Yeah, something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So you escape again, and not into the nature side. You escape into the more more self-willed, where self-will rules side. And someone here is going to release us from the obligation to following the inner law. You know, speeding in the car means that we're not following some inner law or something like that, you know. And the disturbance the officer talks about is pretty interesting. And now you're still worried that you're wanted by the police. I think what you're really wanted by is the unconscious. You know, the unconscious is thinking that you are that what you're guilty of is not following its guidance. You know, and now at one point we are very high up and we're looking down, and so that is we're far from the earth, we're far from our nature, we're far from the grounded embodied place. We're up too high, you know, something, but we're looking down at a seminar. The seminar would be somewhere where something important, some important information is being imparted. We are not listening to it, or we're not interested in it. We're up above. Now, I made a lot of assumptions there. Okay, so Roy, what do you think?
Yeah, I like the pair of opposites. There's a police officer, the controller, and then Gary is the other pair, the escaper. You know, like Houdini. He can run off with handcuffs, no problem. He'll deal with that later. But he has an accomplice, a co-conspirator. It's like a pair of opposites, and Gary's able to do this dance very well. So it's sort of comical. I kind of like it. I kind of look at it like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it shows. It's just sort of this. Now every one of these things has had sort of a fugitive and a pursuer. You know, there's been several dreams in a row with the fugitive and a pursuer. And you know, you think of the hounds of heaven, you know, on that. Kat, what do you think?
I quite like this too. I was thinking about what Roy said about Houdini. Like there was this inner authority sort of slapping the handcuffs on you, and then you managed to escape. But I do find that quite funny. But sometimes we do, like in films and things like that, we do sometimes feel for the villain or the anti-hero, shall we say? Do you know what I mean? I just find it really interesting. But then there is the morality part where I'm still a bit worried about being caught up by the police again. There is that sort of pang there. But then at one point I'm on the beam looking down at a seminar with a lot of people. So there's having the ideas and opinions and sharing of information flying around. But again, I'm sort of removed from it. I'm sort of observing.
Yeah, I think I was like still worried about the police at that point. Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
like by not dealing with the one thing, now I'm not getting other things.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's, I just wanted to read you, I'm sure you heard this before, but it's the hound of heaven. I fled him down the nights and down the days. I fled him down the arches of the years. I fled him down the labyrinthine ways of my own mind. And in the midst of tears, I hid from him and under running laughter. And then the end of the speed. But with unhurrying chase and unperturbed pace, deliberate speed, majestic instancy, the feet of the hounds beat, and a voice beat more instant than the feet. And what does it say? All things betray thee who betrayest me. This is the idea of not following the acorn or the inner
Right.
law, and following the way of the self-willed place. And usually what happens, you get stuck in a dead end. And at that point, you can hit bottom. And that's usually the most healthy thing that can happen to somebody. I want to talk about that in a second, too, in regarding to cat streams. Charles, do you have any comments? About Gary's stream?
No, not at the moment.
Okay, great. Well, I would say this, Charles is getting a big promotion, and he's going to be making more money, and he's going to be a very eligible bachelor. And by the way, if you see him, he's getting lean and mean, and he's getting pretty, he's this very confident look in his face. I don't know.
At least getting pretty tan.
Yes, maybe that's it too. But it just seems like he's getting muscle and getting out. And my uncle used to tell me, go out and blow the stink off yourself or whatever.
Well, he may have to change his avatar he's using.
Yes, I know.
No,
That's sort
I'm
of
keeping this thing forever.
Yeah. Is that now? What's the story about that?
That is one of the drawings that I made when I was dating my ex-girlfriend, and I was just drawing a bunch while in quarantine. It was like right when COVID hit, and yeah, I don't know, I just felt really good, and so made a bunch of drawings, and that's one of them.
We might have time for one of your dreams. Well, I don't know. It's getting a little late. But Gary, what do you think about the dream? What's your opinions of your dream? After the
I think
three previous dreams, too.
Yeah, I think my initial take on it was that, handcuff means that, you're kind of, you're constrained, you're limited, you're like, it's like external forces have forced you into, like a very limited path. And then, even when I'm released from them, I'm still in the mindset of having them on. So, I just need to figure out where this applies.
Yeah. Where the what now?
Where it applies, I need to
Yeah,
figure
where it
out.
applies. Well, I think the idea is that we tend to underrate we overrate the conscious attitude, and we underrate or undervalue the inner wisdom. And the whole idea is, this is one thing in my little active imaginations in the morning, you know, the after I get done with all this kind of preliminary thing, I go into this and I just put my head up against the wall and I can't see anything but darkness. And then I just look forward. I see the face of the soul. And what she does every time, I mean, not every time, only when she is happy with me, is she comes forward like this and we merge, you know, and she goes, and I can feel her going all the way down the spine until she gets to the sacral area. And then I ask, and you know, this is what Marie-Louise von Franz said, that what is the word for it? Individuated. Okay, the undivided aspect means that you are in active imagination all the time. You're living in personality number 2, and you know, Jeffrey Raff said that she wouldn't even go to lunch with someone until she asked an inner voice, should I do this or should I not do that? I mean, she always consulted the inner voice before she did anything. And I mean, because she could, because she was in active imagination all the time. And what was interesting too, you know, Jung stopped throwing, I'm sure you heard this story, he stopped throwing the I Ching because he didn't need to, because he knew what hexagram he would get before he threw it.
Wow.
And that was
I'm
because
jealous.
because he knew he was just experiencing, because of his personality number 2, the Tao of this moment, this one that we're in right now, you know. So anyway, when you said, how do I apply it? I think it's not easy to do, but you know, so what? The unconscious or the soul fuses with me. I ask her to be with me all day long, and then I suddenly forget about it as soon as I go upstairs, you know. But I wanted to say one thing about Kat's dream, and then maybe Charles, you could at least tell us the dream, if you have one. Is Kat? I just wanted to mention about the stromatolites, and also the prehistoric rock carvings, or I had a vision about this. I mean, it wasn't a vision, but it was just a revelation during an active imagination. Is the stromatolites and the ground, the rock where the temple of wisdom is being built, possesses something absolutely miraculous. And what it possesses is the answer to every question. And I felt it, you know, I really felt it, that the answer to every question in the universe is on that stromatolite that we stand upon. You know, now this was, pardon me?
I said, wow, it's just like hit me as you said that. It's just felt like a rush.
It hit me too. I never even thought about it before. I mean, and it never even hit me. I mean, I never even dreamed about it. So this was not a concept or anything. And it wasn't spoken. I felt it.
Mm.
You know, now I just felt it just for a second. And it was just wonderful. It was just transporting that this ground I stand on is sacred ground and is living ground.
Yeah.
You know, and it is, it loves me, and it has the answer to every question there is, you know, within it. You know,
That's
now,
lovely.
yes, and how knowing that there is that aspect within us that is living, wants a relationship with us, and has the answer to every, and the questions and the answers are not the ordinary questions or the ordinary answers. You know, our gold is not the common gold. You know, this is the treasure hard to attain. This is the meaning of existence. You know, and And what Daisetsu Suzuki, the great Zen master, they ask him, what is it like to be in Satori? Now that means, what is it like to be in the presence of the answers to all the questions in the universe? And he says, oh, it's just like normal life, except feet are 4 inches above the floor. I mean, it does. It really reminds me of and this is an important thing. It's not to be taken too piously. Okay, is the disciples asked Jesus, when will the kingdom of the Father come? He says it won't come by expectation, by waiting for it. Men will not say, see here, see there. It is spread upon the earth right now, but men do not see it. So if you stand on the stromatolites, maybe you can see it. I mean, this is just something that happened to me a couple of days ago. But
that's amazing. It's amazing.
I was dying to tell you too, so I'm glad you showed up.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. Well, Charles, did you want to just tell us a dream or something, or just tell us
Sure,
what's up? But yeah, go ahead.
Share a dream.
At least we can
1
hear it.
second.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, I had my phone kind of far away.
Okay.
Okay. So I was in an urban apartment building high up on one of the top floors. Across from me was another building, and I was told there were baby elephants there that needed to be rescued, and I could hear them. I jump across into the window of the building, and there were the elephants. It looked like they were in a mop sink. It was just 2 babies. I proceeded further into the house. My mom and sister were with me, seemingly on the same mission. Eventually, we were caught, and a big, strong guy began to beat up my mom. So I jumped up and attacked him, kicking him in the face. We escaped, but we were followed. And then I remember sitting down, dumping out I used to have a bunch of 22 bullets that I bought, and I was sitting on the ground, dumped out my bullets, and was trying to load them into a strange lever action pistol. I was sitting right by my adversary, who I assume had the elephants. The magazine for the gun was very strange, and at the end of the bullets, neck ties were attached. It those like wooden, like rubber band guns. Yeah, it seemed like it was very similar to one of those in a lot of ways. But yep, that's the end of the dream.
Well, now we've had to save the what was it we saved? Was it a starfish? Okay, we had to save the starfish. We've had to save hamsters. We had to. What other animals have we had to save? Or you've been in the rest?
Turtles.
Yeah, turtles. So you're being asked to now save elephants. Now, what was the dream about the hippos? Remember that one?
Oh yeah. Where I had to fill the house with water so the hippos could get up to the upper level.
Okay, now let's just talk about this theme, because we don't have much time. Is this constant theme of the dream ego needs to rescue a something in distress? What do you think about this, Gary? I mean, it just what do you think this means in a dream? where the dream ego, and in this case, you know, there's an adversary, and again, it's this aspect of someone wants to beat up his mother, who is, you know, is not the most the ideal maternal mother of you know, June Cleaver, or you know, Beaver Cleaver's mother, or whatever. But what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, since all these have to be elements of Charles, and that, you know, and I'm really reminded of the, you know, the metaphor of the elephant in the room, you know? And so, you know, this would make me think, well, you know, there's something big, which is being ignored, you know, and it manifests itself in these, you know, as the parts of Charles which are close to nature, and that, you know, he feels the need to relate to them, but then, you know, there's another part of it which resists it, you know, and that's the attack. So at a high level, that's what I would throw out.
And somehow I got on page 2 and I didn't see Gary or Roy anymore. Roy, what do you think? Now you're not only an expert on this. Charles always loves to hear what you have to say, and he wants you to give him a you know, your best answer.
Well, we don't have much time, and he didn't
Yeah.
write this down. It just got thrown on us. So
Yeah.
anyway, the theme of rescue, you know, it's like the White Knight, only he's rescuing animals. This is a very common thing for a lot of damn people. And I think it has to do with the person's self-esteem. You know, they're not they're not secure with themselves, and that's a way to show that they have value and they're a good person. But it sort of masks the truth. You know, it sort of masks how helpless we all are, and how this is kind of an impossible task. I mean, people do it anyway. I mean, women are better at it than men, I think, and they keep doing it anyway. It doesn't matter how many animals they have or whatever, or how many failures they have. I mean, they just continue. It doesn't, undaunted. I started out like that. I just sort of crawled out of that. I'm not really into that anymore. It's just like something chasing its tail. I didn't feel like I was making any progress. I mean, for everything you rescue, there's a million things that you can't, and it's just, I don't know. I'm just speaking from the heart and stuff, my own experience. But I think rescuing things is like beating a dead horse, personally, from my experience.
There's something inside us that needs rescuing for sure.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, right. What, Kat, no, there's a lot of other aspects we're ignoring here. But Kat, what do you think of this aspect of continually having to rescue something in dreams?
Well, often when people are in that pattern of rescuing, they're obviously like in need of rescuing themselves, but we just sort of project it out onto other people's, in this case, the animals. But then there is that not predatory, but there's that adversary as well, to protect them from. So there's protector and rescuer, but then something in me, or I feel, is in the fact of the elephant. These animals. I mean, I've only heard of one of Charles's dream, and there was a small. Was it a hamster or something?
I think it was a hamster.
And then
yeah.
you get the elephant. But then I think of the story between the mouse and the elephant, there was a story about the elephant being afraid of the mouse or something like that. That's what's just come to mind. But you know, elephants are highly intelligent and emotional creatures and think of other people and other elephants, but will actually go out of their way to rescue another elephant. So there was a lot there. I just wish we had more time to go
Yes.
over it because, you
Well,
know,
yes, we don't, that is, we'll, because it's a great dream. We'll
yeah.
take it up later. Charles, did the idea of the elephants as unbelievably feeling related. Charles, did you want to just say a few words about it before we leave?
I personally think the most interesting image in the dream is the necktie bullets.
Yes, right. We need to talk about that.
Yeah, I don't really know what they mean, but yeah, I think it's really interesting.
Yeah, we just did a dream with Charles about the directed principle. What were those, Charles? It was like a bow and arrow and a gun that weren't appropriate for the young thing. Something about this focused, directed male principle. I don't know, but we'll talk about it Tuesday or Monday. Okay. Well, thanks everybody. Wednesday came quick this week. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll see you guys next week then. Okay. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.